The thermosphere of Saturn glowed with ethereal light as Vex soared between the rings. His massive wings extended fully, Lily and Alara secured on his back. The atmospheric shield surrounding them sparkled with energy, deflecting microscopic ice particles. The gas giant loomed below them, majestic and terrible, a perfect hiding place for the Harvester mothership. 2 weeks had passed since the revelation about the Harvester's true nature. 2 weeks of frantic preparation as Earth and Sylvari forces coordinated their most ambitious assault yet. The plan was daring, perhaps foolish, but it offered their best hope for ending the war. A joint fleet would create a diversion drawing Harvester forces away from Saturn, while Lily, Alara, and Vex infiltrated the mothership to activate the genetic kill switch. Lily surveyed the swirling storms of the planet below her enhanced vision, piercing the cloud layers. The transformation that began with the bonding ritual had progressed further. Her skin now permanently luminescent, her senses beyond human comprehension. Her mind processed information in ways she still struggled to understand. Patterns, connections, insights, appearing with startling clarity. Her body had adapted to space travel, withstanding conditions that would kill an ordinary human. Even without Vex's protective field, she could survive the vacuum longer than should be possible. There, Alara said, pointing toward a disturbance in Saturn's northern hemisphere. Lily focused, her vision. The mothership appeared as a dark mass against the swirling clouds, massive beyond comprehension, its form reminiscent of both machine and organism. The Harvester vessels they had encountered before were mere extensions of this central entity. Its surface pulsed with sickly green energy as it consumed the resources of the gas giant, converting them to more drones, more ships, more weapons. Through the bond, Lily reached out her consciousness, brushing against the mothership. She recoiled, immediately from the alienness of it. The mothership was not merely a vessel but a living database containing the collective knowledge of whoever had created the Harvesters millennia ago. Its neural network was vast, complex, beyond anything she had encountered before. "They know we're coming," she said. "It's aware of our plan, not the details, but the general threat." Alara nodded, her expression grim. "Then we proceed as planned. The diversion must work, or we will never breach the outer defenses." Vex growled softly, his scales shifting to deep crimson with streaks of gold. The Kirath had grown stronger over the past weeks, his abilities evolving beyond anything the Sylvari had recorded. His size rivaled that of a small spacecraft. His protective field could now withstand direct energy weapons. His connection to both Lily and Alara had deepened, allowing instantaneous communication and coordination. "The fleet is in position," Lily said, sensing the distant ships through their quantum communicators. "We should receive confirmation any." Before she could finish, a flash of light erupted from the far side of Saturn. The joint Earth-Sylvari fleet had emerged from hyperspace, their weapons immediately engaging the Harvester defense vessels. The space around the ringed planet erupted in battle energy beams and missiles crossing the void. The mothership responded. Sections of its hull opened, hundreds, then thousands of defense drones launched, moving to intercept the attacking fleet. Its primary weapon systems activated massive energy cannons targeting the largest Earth vessels. The response was swift, overwhelming, exactly as they had hoped, now Alara said. Vex banked sharply, diving toward the mothership. His scales shifted, darkening to match the void of space. The protective field around them changed frequency, becoming nearly invisible to detection systems. The Kirath had learned to manipulate energy in ways that confused Harvester sensors. The three of them linked through the bond, coordinated perfectly, their minds functioning as one. The mothership grew larger, filling their vision. Its surface was not smooth, but composed of countless interlocking sections that moved independently, organic yet mechanical. The outer hull pulsed, with energy defensive systems scanning for threats, but their approach from below, using Saturn's radiation to mask their signature, kept them hidden. Vex circled, searching for an entry point. Through the bond, Lily extended her awareness, mapping the mothership structure. The design was complex, labyrinthine, but patterns emerged. Logic in the chaos, vulnerabilities in the defense. There she indicated a section near what appeared to be a resource intake valve, a maintenance access point not designed for infiltration but less heavily monitored than formal entrances. The Kirath dove toward the indicated spot, his claws extended razor-sharp, capable of tearing through even the hardened harvester hull. They approached slowly, carefully, the bond between them thrumming with tension, anticipation, determination. Proximity alarms blared in their minds. The mothership had detected them, defensive systems activated. Turrets emerged from the hull, energy weapons charging. Too late, Vex had already reached the access point. His claws dug into the hull, tearing through the outer layer. The material resisted, organic yet metal-like, then gave way with a silent explosion of atmosphere. The Kirath forced his massive body through the opening, his protective field, maintaining pressure as they entered the mothership. Inside was a nightmarish landscape of biological and mechanical components, fused together. Tubular structures pulsed with glowing fluid, carrying resources throughout the vessel. Wall surfaces writhed, with small mechanical organisms performing maintenance and repairs. The air, if it could be called that, was thick with biochemical particles that would be toxic to unprotected humans. Vex maintained the protective field around them as they dismounted. The Kirath had to fold his wings tightly against his body to navigate the interior corridors, his size now a potential liability. But they had anticipated this. The plan accounted for the tight spaces. Which way, Alara asked, her weapon ready, a staff that combined Silvari energy technology with earth metallurgy. Lily closed her eyes, focusing on the distant sensation of the genetic template. The heart of the harvester consciousness was well protected, buried deep within the mothership. But she could sense it, a pulsing rhythm distinct from the surrounding systems. This way, she indicated a corridor that sloped downward toward the center of the vessel. They moved quickly, Vex leading his senses alert for threats. The corridors twisted, changed configuration as they proceeded. The mothership was aware, constantly adapting, attempting to confuse them, trap them. But through the bond, they shared knowledge, instantly adjusting their path. The first defense drones appeared as they reached a junction, chamber smaller than the combat models they had faced before. These were designed for internal security. Their limbs ended in cutting tools rather than weapons, but no less deadly. Alara engaged them immediately, her staff striking with precision. Vex growled, his size preventing full movement, but his claws still deadly. The drones fell quickly, their coordination no match for the bonded trio. More will come, Lily warned, sensing the mothership's response to the intrusion. We're being tracked, they continued, deeper, following Lily's guidance. The mothership's internal structure became increasingly organic, less mechanical. The walls pulsed with life, fluid-filled conduits carrying nutrients, information, resources. The further they went, the more Lily understood about the harvester's origins. These weren't created as weapons initially, she said as they moved, her enhanced senses reading the biological markers in the surrounding tissue. They were maintenance systems designed to clean up after some cataclysm, but something went wrong. Their programming corrupted. They began to consume rather than restore. Corrupted by what, Alara asked. I'm not sure, Lily admitted. Still too many missing pieces. But their original purpose was preservation, not destruction. The kill switch exists because their creators recognized the potential for corruption. The failsafe if they exceeded parameters. Another group of defense drones appeared, larger, more heavily armed. These moved with greater coordination, attacking from multiple angles at once. Vex projected an energy pulse, stunning several. The others engaged Alara directly, her combat training evident as she moved with fluid grace, striking with precision. Lily focused her mind, reaching through the bond to enhance Alara's awareness, showing her the drone's weak points. The silvery woman adjusted her attacks accordingly, each strike now disabling a drone with minimal effort. The threat neutralized, they pressed forward. The journey deeper became more difficult. The mothership's automatic defenses increased. Sections of corridor sealed before them, forcing detours. Toxic gas-filled chambers requiring Vex to strengthen his protective field. Strange energy fields disrupted their bond, temporarily leaving them disoriented. Yet they continued, each obstacle overcome, each barrier breached. the bond between them growing stronger with each challenge, their coordination improving their abilities, enhancing one another. Lily's understanding of harvester biology, Ilara's combat expertise, Vex's raw power and protective abilities. Together, they were formidable. Finally, they reached the central chamber, the heart of the mothership. A vast, spherical space filled with pulsating organic material suspended in nutrient, fluid. At the center, a massive structure unlike anything they had seen before, a combination of biological components and advanced technology. The original template from which all harvesters were created. Lily stared in awe, understanding flooding. Through her enhanced mind, this was not merely a genetic database but a living archive. The original harvester, the source code from which all others derived, preserved for millennia. 6 months passed since the destruction of the moon base. 6 months of guerrilla warfare against the harvesters. 6 months of Lily adjusting to her new existence as something neither fully human nor Sylvari, but a bridge between worlds. The transformation, that began with the bonding ritual, continued, her skin now permanently luminescent, her senses enhanced beyond human capability. Her mind processed information differently, connections forming rapidly, insights appearing with startling clarity. Underground command center hummed with activity. Humans and Sylvari working side by side in the hidden complex beneath the Colorado mountains. After the fall of the moon base, Earth governments had united with the Sylvari, forming the Interspecies Defense Council. Necessity had forced cooperation. Breaking down centuries of human division, Lily stood before the central holographic display studying harvester fleet movements. Their patterns had changed, becoming less predictable, more desperate. She could sense their confusion, their frustration. Through her unique bond with Ilara and Vex, she had gained the ability to understand the harvester's biochemical language. Their communications were complex, but no longer incomprehensible to her. Ilara entered the command center, her silver armor gleaming in the artificial light. In the month since their escape from the moon, she had been appointed combat commander of the joint forces. Her knowledge of harvester tactics, combined with Lily's insights, had made them formidable opponents. Against all odds, they had begun to push back the invasion. The Sylvari woman moved to stand beside Lily, their shoulders touching, a gesture that had become natural, familiar. They had grown closer in ways beyond the bond, their shared experiences creating a connection that transcended physical differences. New intelligence from the Asian front. Ilara said, they successfully deployed the disruption field. The harvester drones were immobilized for 6 minutes, enough time to evacuate the civilian population. Lily nodded. The disruption technology was based on her understanding of harvester neural pathways. It wasn't a permanent solution, but it bought precious time. 6 minutes doesn't sound like much, she said, but it's progress. The first attempts only gave us 30 seconds, Diane Wells. Earth's representative to the council approached them. A tall woman with dark skin and close-cropped gray hair, she carried herself with the authority of someone accustomed to making difficult decisions. The council meeting begins in 10 minutes, she said. We have some opposition to address. She looked meaningfully at Lily. Some concerns about your continued role. Lily sighed. Politics, even facing extinction. Humans couldn't abandon their power struggles. The concerns were not new. Some military leaders, particularly General Frank Wilson, distrusted her transformation, saw her changes as contamination rather than evolution. They questioned her loyalty, her humanity. Let them question. Ilara said, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. You have saved more human lives than any of them. Vex chose that moment to enter the command center. The Kirath, now fully grown, was massive. His wingspan stretched nearly 30 meters. When extended, though, he kept them folded close to his body in the confined space. His scales shifted between deep blue and purple, reflecting his calm, focused state. In the month since the bonding, he had developed abilities beyond anything the Sylvari had recorded in their history. The atmospheric shield that saved them from the moon base was just the beginning. He could now project protective fields around entire buildings, could fly at speeds that defied conventional physics, could sense harvester activity across vast distances. The dragon moved to Lily's side, his enormous head lowering to meet her gaze. Through their bond, she felt his confidence, his unwavering support. He had become a symbol to both humans and Sylvari, a living embodiment of what cooperation between their species could achieve. Diane smiled at the interaction. The council may question, she said, but no one can deny results. The intelligence you provided, the technologies you've helped develop, they've saved millions. She gestured toward the door. We should go. Keeping the council waiting only gives them more time to argue among themselves. The council chamber was a large circular room carved from the living rock of the mountain. 24 seats, arranged in tiered rows, faced a central speaking platform. Representatives from Earth's major regions sat alongside Sylvari elders from the various collective houses. The arrangement symbolized their equal partnership, though in practice tensions remained as Lily Alara and Diane entered. General Wilson was already speaking. His tall frame rigid in his formal uniform, his voice carrying throughout the chamber. She isn't even human anymore. He was saying, how can we trust the security of our operations to someone who has been so fundamentally altered? We have no idea the extent of these changes or their ultimate effect. Ambassador Kalorn, the Sylvari leader who had been present at first contact, rose in response. The bonding is sacred, she said. Her voice remained calm, though Lily could see tension in her posture. The changes in Lily Mason are not contamination but evolution, an enhancement of what was already there. The ability to understand our enemy, to interpret their communications, has saved countless lives, both human and Sylvari. Perhaps Wilson acknowledged, but at what cost her loyalty? Where does it truly lie now? With humanity? With the Sylvari? Or with that creature? He gestured toward Vex, who remained impassive, though Lily felt a ripple of amusement. Through their bond, the general continued, we cannot ignore that she now shares consciousness with a Sylvari and this dragon. What happens when our interests diverge? When difficult choices must be made, Diane stepped forward to the central platform. Commander Wells would like to address the council, the moderator announced. Thank you, Diane said. Her voice projected confidence, calm reason. I understand the concerns raised by General Wilson. They come from a place of caution which in wartime is valuable. However, they are based on an outdated understanding of what we face and who we are. She gestured toward Lily. The transformation of Dr. Mason represents what we are all experiencing on a larger scale. Change, adaptation, evolution. Our species met just over 8 months ago. Now we fight together, develop technologies together, and yes, evolve together. The harvesters threaten all life, not just human, not just Sylvari. Their very nature is consumption without end. Our only hope lies in becoming something they cannot anticipate, something beyond their experience. She paused, meeting Wilson's gaze directly. Dr. Mason and her connection to Commander Alara and the Kirath Vex represent our greatest asset, not our greatest threat. The intelligence they provide has been verified repeatedly. Their contributions to our defensive and offensive capabilities are unmatched. I move that we formally recognize the special status of what some have begun to call the bridge and grant them expanded authority to pursue new avenues of research. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some supportive, some clearly opposed. Lily stood silent, knowing that defending herself would only feed suspicion. She had faced this before, the fear of difference, the distrust of change. But each time her actions, her contributions had eventually won over the doubters. Wilson stood again, gesturing toward the data display. Perhaps the council would be interested in seeing the latest medical scans of Dr. Mason, he said. They show continuing changes to her cellular structure. Her DNA is being rewritten in ways our scientists cannot fully explain. Who knows what she may become next? What abilities or intentions may develop before anyone could? Respond alarms blared throughout the complex, red emergency lights activated. The command center's communication system engaged. Harvester vessels detected in near orbit. Defensive systems activated. All personnel to battle stations. The council chamber erupted into controlled chaos. Representatives moved quickly to their evacuation positions. Security teams deployed with practiced efficiency. the training drills of recent months evident in their response. Lily closed her eyes, focusing on the distant sensation of harvester communications. Through the bond, she reached further than ever before. Her consciousness expanded, touching the edges of the enemy fleet. She gasped at what she found. "These aren't scout ships," she announced. "They're capital ships, their main fleet." "All of it?" Alara looked at her with concern. "How many, all of them?" Lily said, "Every ship they have. They're committing everything to this attack." She turned to the council members still present. They must have discovered this base. Its location, its significance. They're desperate. Wilson approached, his previous accusatory tone replaced by professional focus. "How long do we have?" "Minutes," Lily answered. "Maybe less." "They're deploying a new weapon type. Something I've never sensed before. The configuration is strange, almost familiar, but I can't place it." Diane activated the command console, initiating emergency protocols. "Evacuation sequence activated," she ordered. "All non-essential personnel to deep shelters. Defense teams to positions." Vex growled softly, his scales shifting to deep crimson with streaks of gold. Through the bond, Lily felt his determination, his protective instinct. The Kirath moved toward the surface, his massive body somehow navigating the corridors with grace. "We're going with him," Alara said to Lily. "We need to see what we're facing." Diane nodded. "Go," she said. "We'll coordinate from here." They followed Vex through the complex emergency bulkheads, opening automatically to allow the dragon passage. As they neared the surface entrance, Lily felt the Harvester presence growing stronger, their communications more clear yet somehow distorted, as if they were using a new dialect or encryption. The moon base hummed with activity as Lily lay on a crystalline table in the deepest chamber of the underground sanctuary. The room was circular, carved from lunar rock and reinforced with Sylvari technology. Soft blue light emanated from crystals, embedded in the walls, casting everything in an ethereal glow. 4 weeks had passed since the Harvester attack on the Dawnseeker. 4 weeks since Vex had been poisoned. The emergency treatment aboard the ship had stabilized him, but only temporarily. The poison continued its slow attack on the bond between the Kirath and Alara Earth, and the Sylvari had agreed to establish a joint research base on the moon after the Harvester fleet began systematic attacks on Earth colonies. This hidden sanctuary now served as their last hope. Lily watched as Sylvari healers prepared for the ritual. Her friend Kathy Porter, base commander, and fellow scientist monitored from behind a protective barrier. She gave Lily a reassuring nod, though her eyes betrayed her concern. This was unprecedented, a human attempting to bond with a Kirath. The risks were unknown. On a table beside Lily lay Vex. His once vibrant scales had faded to a dull gray. His breathing was shallow, labored. Alara stood between them, her hands placed on both Lily and her dragon companion. Her face was drawn with exhaustion. The strain of maintaining the failing bond had taken its toll. "Are you certain about this?" Alara asked Lily one final time. "The ritual cannot be undone. Once begun, the connection will remain forever altered." Lily met her gaze without hesitation. "Am certain," she said. The words came easily. The past month working alongside Alara had created a connection between them that transcended their different species. She could not stand by and watch Vex die, knowing she might help. The head healer, a Sylvari elder named Vala, approached carrying a small crystal vessel. The liquid inside glowed with shifting colors. "We are ready," she announced. Her voice carried the weight of centuries. The ritual has not been performed in generations. It was used in ancient times when a Sylvari was mortally wounded, and the Kirath bond needed reinforcement. She looked at Lily with eyes that seemed to see through her. "This adaptation for a human participant is theoretical. We cannot predict all outcomes." Kathy stepped forward from the observation area. "The poison is attacking the connection between Alara and Vex," she explained to the assembled human scientists. "If Lily can provide an alternative neural pathway, it might buy us time to develop an antitoxin. Our scans show she already has a partial bond forming naturally. This ritual would strengthen and stabilize that connection. The Sylvari healers took positions around the room, each holding crystals similar to the one Vala carried. The air grew heavy with energy. Lily felt her skin tingle as if electrical currents were passing over her. Ilara placed one hand on Lily's forehead and the other on Vex. The Karath stirred. Slightly at her touch, "I will guide you through the connection," she said softly to Lily. "Focus on my voice. Let your mind open. Do not resist what comes," Vala began chanting in the musical Sylvari language. The other healers joined, creating harmonies that seemed to vibrate through the very rock of the chamber. The liquid in the crystal vessels began to glow brighter, pulsing in rhythm with the chant. Lily felt a warmth spread from Ilara's hand on her forehead. It flowed downward through her body, reaching every extremity. Behind her closed eyelids, colors swirled, patterns forming and dissolving. Her breathing synchronized with Ilara's, then with Vex's. The chanting grew louder, the energy in the room intensifying. Lily felt a sudden pressure in her mind, as if something was pushing against a door she hadn't known existed. Instinctively, she resisted. "Let go." Ilara whispered, her voice somehow inside Lily's mind. "Trust the connection." Lily exhaled deeply and surrendered. The pressure gave way, and something flowed into her consciousness. Images, thoughts, feelings not her own. She saw fragments of Ilara's life, the destruction of her home world, the years of fighting, the moment Vex had chosen her as a child. She felt the dragon's presence, too wild, ancient, yet innocent. The connection deepened. Images came faster. Planets, stars, battles, ships, the vastness of space seen through eyes not human. The bond between Ilara and Vex, a living thing. Beautiful, complex, now damaged by poison. Lily could see the toxin like dark threads spreading through the connection. Something shifted. Lily felt herself becoming part of the bond, not replacing it, but reinforcing it, like a bridge spanning a damaged section. The poison recoiled from her presence, her human consciousness unfamiliar to it. It could not immediately adapt. Then pain struck sharp and overwhelming. Every nerve ending fired simultaneously. Lily gasped, her back arching off the table. She heard shouting Kathy's voice calling for the ritual, to stop Ilara's voice firm, insisting they continue. Vex made a sound somewhere between a growl and a whimper. Through the pain, Lily sensed the changes in her body. Her skin tingled, then burned, then cooled. Her senses, sharpened, sounds becoming clearer, colors more vibrant. She could smell everything: the metallic scent of the moon base, the unique fragrance of the Sylvari, the clinical smell of the laboratory beyond. The chanting reached a crescendo, then stopped abruptly. The silence was deafening. Lily felt the connection solidify, locking into place. A three-way bond where before there had been two. She could feel Ilara's presence, calm, steady, a anchor in the storm. She could feel Vex too, his consciousness alien yet familiar, his pain subsiding. As the alternative pathway relieved pressure on his damaged bond with Ilara, Lily opened her eyes. The room looked different, colors, more vivid edges, sharper. She could see energy fields around the Sylvari, something she had never perceived before. Looking down at her arm, she gasped. Her skin had developed a faint luminescence similar to the Sylvari, though more subtle. Ilara helped her sit up, her touch gentle. "What do you feel?" she asked. "Everything," Lily whispered. Her voice sounded strange, too. Her own ears richer with subtle harmonics. "I can feel you and Vex like you're inside my mind but separate. Is this how it always is for you?" Ilara smiled, though her eyes showed concern. "The bond is different than what I share with Vex alone," she explained. "This is something new. A human Sylvari Kirath triad. The healers have never seen its like." Vex stirred on the adjacent table. His scales had begun to regain some color, shifting slowly from gray to a pale blue. He lifted his head, looking directly at Lily. His eyes, which had always seemed intelligent, now held recognition. He chirped softly, and Lily understood not words exactly, but impressions. Gratitude, relief, connection. "He understands me," Lily said with wonder. and I understand him somewhat. The bond facilitates communication, Ilara explained, though it will take time to develop fully. Kathy approached cautiously, her scientific curiosity evident. How do you feel, Lily? She asked. Are you in pain? Lily considered this. Different? She answered, changed, but it's not painful. Just overwhelming. She tried to stand but swayed. Ilara steadied her. The room spun briefly, then stabilized. The scans are extraordinary, Kathy said. The neural activity in your brain has increased by 40%. Your cellular structure is showing subtle alterations. Nothing dangerous, but definitely not standard human biology anymore. Vex suddenly stood on his table, his wings extended, showing new strength. His scales brightened further now, a deeper blue with streaks of violet. He launched himself into the air, circling the chamber once before landing beside Lily. He had grown again, now the size of a large dog. His wings, when fully extended, spanned nearly 8 feet. The poison, Lily asked, looking at Vala. Has it been neutralized? Not entirely, the healer answered, but its progress has been halted. The secondary pathway you provide has relieved the pressure on the primary bond. We can now develop a targeted antitoxin. With time, the poison can be eliminated completely. Sudden alarm blared throughout the base. Red emergency lights activated. Kathy's communication device chimed. She answered it, her expression growing serious. Harvester ships, she announced. 10 of them approaching lunar orbit. They've found us. The room erupted into activity. Sylvari and humans moving with practiced efficiency. The weeks of attacks had created seamless cooperation between the species. Vala directed the healers to secure their equipment. Kathy coordinated with the defense teams. Ilara placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. We need to move, she said. This chamber is too deep for quick evacuation. Lily nodded and took a step forward. She stumbled immediately, her senses overwhelmed. Everything was too bright, too loud, too intense. The bond was new, raw, her body still adjusting to the changes. Vex moved to her side, pressing against her leg. Offering support, Lily placed her hand on his head and felt a surge of strength flow through the connection. The Kirath was helping her stabilize. They made their way through the corridor toward the upper levels of the base. Kathy joined them, coordinating evacuation orders through her communication device. The defense grid is active, she said. But these are capital ships. Not scouts. We don't have the firepower to repel them. The first impact struck as they reached the main level. The base shuddered, dust falling from the ceiling. Vex growled, his scales shifting to red alert. Protective Lily stumbled again, but this time, not from weakness. A strange sensation flooded her mind. Images, sounds in a language she didn't recognize, but somehow she understood. They're targeting the research wing, she said. The words coming before she fully processed the thought. They know about the biological samples, Ilara, and Kathy stared at her. How do you know that? Kathy asked. I can sense them, Lily said, struggling to explain. The knowledge had simply appeared in her mind, clear and certain. 2 months passed since the first harvester attack. Lily sat in the laboratory aboard the Sylvari flagship Dawnseeker, her eyes tired from hours of studying cellular samples. The ship hummed softly around her, the sound now familiar, almost comforting. After the attack on the space station, Earth and the Sylvari had formed an alliance out of necessity. The harvesters had begun systematic attacks on outposts throughout the solar system. Their intent clear. They would consume everything. Lily had been assigned to work directly with the Sylvari scientists, using her xenobiology expertise to understand the harvesters' biological makeup. If they could find a weakness, they might stand a chance. Most days, she worked alongside Ilara, whose knowledge of the enemy proved invaluable. The laboratory door slid open and Ilara entered. Vex perched on her shoulder. The dragon had grown considerably in the past months now, the size of a large dog. When not on Ilara, he moved independently around the ship, often seeking out Lily. His scales constantly shifted between deep blue and crimson depending on his mood, a trait Lily found fascinating. Lily, any progress? Ilara asked, moving to stand beside her. Lily sighed and rubbed her eyes. Not much, she admitted. These cellular structures are unlike anything I've studied. The way they adapt to attacks is remarkable. Almost like they were designed. Ilara nodded grimly. They were engineered for war, she said. That much we know. They are not natural beings. No species evolves to be so perfectly destructive. Lily looked up at her. Their connection had deepened over the weeks working together, yet Ilara had not mentioned marriage again since that first day. Lily had begun to wonder if it had been some kind of cultural misunderstanding or translation error. Vex chirped and jumped from Ilara's shoulder to the laboratory table. His claws careful not to disturb the equipment. He sniffed at the cellular samples, his head tilting with curiosity. He understands more than we think, Ilara said, watching the dragon Kirath are empathically linked to their bonded ones. They share knowledge in ways we cannot fully explain. Kirath Lily had heard the term before, but Ilara rarely spoke of the bond she shared with Vex. Is that what your people call these dragons? Ilara smiled. The word dragon comes from your mythology. Kirath is our term. They have been part of Sylvari culture for millennia. Always rare, always revered. A Sylvari chosen by a Kirath is considered blessed. Tell me about your bond, Lily asked, setting aside her work. She had wanted to ask for weeks, but the war had always taken priority. Ilara was quiet for a moment, her eyes shifting to a soft purple color that Lily had come to associate with reflection or deep thought. The bond forms when we are young, she finally said. A Kirath chooses its companion for life. The connection is mental, spiritual. We share thoughts, feelings, sometimes even dreams. Vex has been with me since I was a child. He sensed me from a great distance, came to me after my family was killed in a harvester attack. Lily reached out, touching Ilara's hand, a gesture that had become natural between them. I'm sorry about your family. Ilara turned her hand over, intertwining their fingers. The Sylvari's skin was always warm, slightly luminescent in the dim laboratory light. Among my people, she said, her voice soft. We believe that our souls recognize those they have known before across lifetimes, across worlds. Vex sensed you first. That is why I knew. Knew what Lily asked, though something inside her already understood. That you are my soul's companion from another world. Ilara said, meeting Lily's eyes directly. It is why I asked to marry you so directly. In my culture, when such recognition occurs, it would be a grave dishonor not to acknowledge it immediately. Lily felt her heart beat faster. The intensity in Ilara's gaze made her both nervous and somehow complete, as if a puzzle piece had fallen into place. Is that common? She asked, finding her people from other worlds. Ilara shook her head. It is exceedingly rare. To find a soul companion among another species has happened only a handful of times in our recorded history. When it happens, it is considered significant, a sign of great change to come. Vex moved closer to Lily, nudging her hand with his head. His scales glowed blue with flecks of gold, a color Lily had never seen on him before. She stroked his head, feeling the warmth beneath her fingers. He chose you too, Ilara whispered. That has never happened before. A Kirath bonding with someone not Sylvari. The elders would consider it a miracle or an omen. Before Lily could respond, the ship's alert system activated. Red lights flashed throughout the laboratory. Commander Sora's voice came over the communication system. All personnel to battle stations. Harvester scout ship detected approaching starboard. Prepare for possible engagement. Ilara stood immediately, her expression changing from soft to focused in an instant. Stay here, she said. It's safer. No, Lily argued, standing as well. I'm going to the command center. My knowledge of their biology might help. They moved quickly through the corridors of the Dawnseeker, Vex keeping pace beside them. The ship was in full alert, crew members running to their positions. The efficiency of the Sylvari impressed Lily. Each knew their role, performing it without panic. The command center was a hub of activity. Large view screens showed the approaching harvester vessel. It was smaller than the ships they had seen at Earth, darkly angular with pulsing red lights along its hull. Status report. Ilara demanded as they entered. Chief Tactical Officer Narala turned from her station. Single scout vessel approaching rapidly, she reported. It has not detected us yet. The stealth systems are holding. Hold position. Commander Sora ordered from the center of the room. Her silver hair was pulled back tightly, her armor gleaming under the command center lights. Let it pass. Alara moved to stand, beside Sora Lily following. Why is a scout this far from the main fleet, she asked. The Harvesters never send scouts alone. Something has changed, Sora acknowledged. Perhaps they lost track of us, or they are hunting for something specific. Lily suggested the view screens showed the scout ship moving closer. Its trajectory would bring it within scanning range of the Dawnseeker, even with the stealth systems active. The command center was silent as they watched, waiting. It's changing course, Narala reported. Suddenly it's heading directly toward us. They've detected us, impossible, Sora said. Our stealth technology. The ship shuddered as the Harvester vessel fired. Its weapons struck the Dawnseeker's shields. The impact was minor, but the implications, severe. Return. Fire, Sora ordered. Target their propulsion systems. We cannot let them report back to the fleet. The Dawnseeker's weapons activated beams of blue energy, striking the Harvester ship. It evaded partially the beam, glancing off its hull. Another volley followed, this time hitting directly. The scout ship spun from the impact but continued firing. Shields at 80%, Narala reported. Another direct hit could compromise our position. Alara turned to Lily. We need to move to a safer location, Aubrey said. This could get worse. As they turned to leave, the ship rocked violently from another impact. Lily was thrown against a console. Alara reaching for her. The lights flickered. Emergency systems activating. Direct hit. Narala called out. Deck 7 compromised. Emergency containment activated. Lily pushed herself up, checking for injuries. Finding none, she looked for Alara. The silvery woman stood nearby, protected Vex, who had somehow positioned himself between her and the impact. His wings were extended fully, his size seemingly larger than before. Another impact shook the ship. This one more severe structural damage was reported throughout the vessel. The command center view screens showed the Harvester ship continuing its attack, drawing closer. Suddenly, from an adjacent corridor, a security breach alarm sounded. Boarding drones detected in Section 4. Security teams respond. Sora ordered. Her face remained calm, but Lily could see concern in her eyes. The Harvesters rarely boarded vessels. They typically destroyed them outright. We need to secure the laboratory, Lily said, realizing the danger. The biological samples could not fall into Harvester control. Alara nodded in agreement. Vex growled, his scales now deep red with streaks of black. They moved quickly back toward the laboratory through corridors now filled with crew members responding to the emergency. The ship continued to shudder as the battle raged. They were nearly at the laboratory when they encountered them. 3 Harvester drones, mechanical bodies with organic components. Their limbs were sharp metallic, their heads featuring multiple sensor arrays instead of faces. They moved with unnatural speed, cutting off the corridor ahead. Alara pushed Lily behind her, drawing her weapon, a staff that glowed with energy. Vex positioned himself beside her, his size now unmistakably larger than before. His wings extended fully, his teeth bared. Stay back, Alara warned Lily. These drones are combat models. They harvest biological material for analysis. The drones advanced simultaneously, moving in perfect coordination. Their limbs extended, revealing weapons, biological in nature, that dripped with an unknown substance. Alara engaged the first, her staff striking with precision. The drone sparked but continued forward. Vex leapt at the second, his claws and teeth tearing into its mechanical components. The drone struggled against him, unable to counter the dragon's ferocity. The third drone moved past them, heading directly for Lily. Lily backed away, looking for a weapon, anything to defend herself. The drone approached, its sensors focused entirely on her. Its arm extended, a needle-like appendage emerging. She dodged the first strike, but the corridor gave her little room to maneuver. Alara shouted something in the Silvari language as she fought. Still engaged with the first drone, she could not reach Lily. Vex roared, tearing free from the second drone. His scales, The sky above Earth Space Station Orion glowed with distant stars as Lily Mason adjusted her uniform one last time. Her heart beat fast in her chest. Today was the day humans would meet the Sylvari for the first time, and as the station's lead xenobiologist, she would be front and center. Lily ran her fingers through her short brown hair and took a deep breath. The Sylvari had contacted Earth 6 months ago, their transmission peaceful and curious. Now, after months of preparation, the first official delegation would arrive at the station. Commander Nancy Bell entered the preparation room, her gray uniform crisp and perfect. "Just remember the protocols." "Lily," she said with a small smile. "No sudden movements, maintain eye contact, but not for too long, and most importantly, follow their lead with greetings." Lily nodded. "We studied their initial communication videos for months." She said, "I know their basic customs, but I still feel unprepared." The station alert system chimed softly, announcing the approach of the Sylvari vessel. Through the observation window, Lily watched as their ship came into view. It was unlike any human craft, elegant with flowing lines that seemed to pulse with a soft blue light as it moved. When the ship docked, the entire welcome committee stood at attention in the main hall. 20 humans representing Earth's scientific and diplomatic community, all trained for this moment. The airlock cycled, and with a gentle hiss, the door slid open. The Sylvari entered the station, walking with grace that made them appear to float rather than step. They were tall, most standing 7 feet or more, with slender builds. Their skin ranged from pale blue to soft lavender, with a subtle glow that seemed to pulse with their breathing. What humans might once have called elves in fairy tales now stood before them, real and magnificent. The leader stepped forward wearing flowing robes of silver and blue. "I am Kalorn," she said, her voice musical, like wind chimes. "We bring greetings from the Sylvari Collective." Commander Bell performed the practiced greeting gesture, placing her right hand over her heart, then extending it palm up. "We welcome you to Earth Space Station Orion," she said. The humans behind her mimicked the gesture. Lily watched, fascinated as the delegation moved forward, each introducing themselves. Her scientific mind raced, cataloging details. Their elongated ears that moved subtly with emotion. The way their eyes shifted colors as they spoke, the fine, almost invisible, markings on their skin that appeared to form patterns. Then she saw a female Sylvari near the back of the group. Unlike the others, while most of the delegation wore similar formal attire, this one wore what appeared to be some type of armor, dark purple with silver accents that caught the light. Her hair was white as snow, pulled back in intricate braids with small glowing gems woven through it. But what truly set her apart was the creature perched on her shoulder, a small reptilian being, with iridescent scales that shifted between deep blue and purple. Its wings were folded against its body, but occasionally stretched, revealing membranes thin enough for light to pass through. A dragon, Lily thought, her scientific mind immediately, rejecting the fantasy term while still unable to find a better one. The Sylvari woman did not follow the formal procession. Instead, her eyes, cosmic purple in color, locked onto Lily. Her gaze was intense, curious, and something else Lily could not name. The small dragon creature chirped softly, its head tilting as if it too was studying Lily. Commander Bell continued the formal introductions. "Please allow me to present our lead scientists," she said, gesturing to the human delegation. "This is Dr. Lily Mason, our xenobiology specialist." Lily stepped forward, performing the greeting gesture and trying to focus on Kalorn rather than the mysterious woman with the dragon. But as the formalities continued, she felt the woman's gaze never leaving her. It was unsettling, yet somehow not threatening. After the initial greetings, the delegation moved to the conference room where refreshments had been prepared. The humans had studied Sylvari dietary needs and prepared appropriate food and drink. Both groups mingled somewhat awkwardly, cultural barriers evident, despite months of preparation. Lily was examining the spread of food when she felt a presence behind her. She turned to find the Sylvari woman with the dragon standing there, much closer than the standard social distance the delegation had maintained. "I am Alara." The woman said, her voice lower and richer than the other Sylvari. "This is Vex," she added as the small dragon chirped from her shoulder. Lily smiled, performing the greeting gesture again. "Hello, Ilara and Vex," she said. "I am Lily Mason." Ilara did not return the gesture. Instead, she stepped even closer, her head tilting slightly, as if confirming something. "What must I do to marry you?" she asked, her tone entirely serious. Lily blinked, certain she had misheard. I'm sorry," she stammered. "What did you say?" Ilara opened her mouth to repeat herself, but at that moment Vex suddenly stood alert on her shoulder, his wings extending slightly as he made a high-pitched sound. The dragon's scales shifted rapidly from blue to red. Seconds later, the station alarms blared loudly. The lights dimmed, switching to emergency power. Commander Bell's voice came over the communication system. "All personnel report to emergency stations. This is not a drill, I repeat, this is not a drill." The humans and Sylvari in the room looked around in confusion. Kalorn approached Commander Bell. "What is happening?" she asked, her eyes now glowing bright yellow. Before anyone could answer, the station's main view screen activated, showing a section of space near Saturn. Multiple ships had appeared, their design unlike anything Lily had seen before. Dark and angular, they moved with mechanical precision toward Earth. "They have found us," Ilara said, her voice now hard. Her hand moved to a weapon at her side while Vex hissed, his body expanding slightly, growing before Lily's eyes. "They have followed us to your world." Kalorn turned to the human delegation. "We must speak immediately," she said. "The harvesters have arrived. Your world is in danger." "What are harvesters?" Lily asked, looking at Ilara's eyes met hers, now glowing red with emotion. "They consume everything," she said. "Simply put, they harvest worlds until nothing remains. They have hunted my people. For generations, we thought we had lost them when we came to contact your species. We were wrong." As if to emphasize her point, the station shook violently. A distant explosion could be heard. Lily nearly fell, but Ilara caught her arm, steadying her. The Sylvari's grip was strong, her skin warm to the touch. Through the chaos, Commander Bell organized both humans and Sylvari, moving them toward the command center. "We need to coordinate a response," she said. "To both delegations. We are stronger together." As they hurried through the corridors, Ilara stayed close to Lily. Vex, now fully alert, his size somehow increasing, until he was nearly as large as a house cat. It was impossible, Lily thought. Creatures did not grow that quickly. Yet the evidence was before her eyes. In the command center screen showed the approaching ships. Their weapons were firing at the outer planets, the impacts visible even at this distance. "This is just a scouting party," Ilara said quietly to Lily. "The main fleet will follow. They always do. How do you know so much about them?" Lily asked. Ilara's expression darkened. "I was a warrior in the last great battle against them," she said. "My family, my home, all gone. I was one of few survivors. That is when Vex chose me, chose you among my people." She explained, "These companions select their bonded ones. They are rare, sacred." She paused, studying Lily's face. "Vex reacted to you? That has never happened before with someone not of our kind." Before Lily could ask what that meant, "Commander," Bell called for attention. "The Earth Defense Fleet has been mobilized," she announced. "But we need information. What are we facing?" She looked to Kalorn. The Sylvari leader stepped forward. "The harvesters are an ancient enemy," she explained. "They do not communicate. They do not negotiate. They consume. They will strip your planet of all resources, including organic life. How do we stop them?" asked one of the human diplomats. "We fight together," said Kalorn, "or we all perish separately," as the humans and Sylvari began sharing tactical information. Ilara touched Lily's arm, drawing her aside. "I must tell you something," she said. Her voice had changed softer now. "There is a reason I asked what I did earlier. Vex sensed something in you. Something important." Lily looked at the dragon, now perched again on Ilara's shoulder. The creature met her gaze, its eyes intelligent, aware. "In my culture," Ilara continued, "when a bond is recognized, it must be acknowledged immediately. It would be dishonest to ignore it." Lily shook her head, trying to understand. You think we have some kind of bond? Alara nodded. My people believe in soul connections. When they occur across species, it is rare, significant. In all our history, it has happened only 3 times. The station shook, again more violently this time. The lights flickered. Commander Bell shouted orders as both humans and Sylvari rushed to stations. What does this mean for us? Lily asked, struggling to focus on Alara rather than the chaos around them. It means Alara, said, taking Lily's hand. We were meant to find each other, and perhaps that is why our peoples have come together now at this moment of crisis. Vex chirped, his scales now glowing bright blue. He jumped suddenly from Alara's shoulder to Lily's. The weight was surprising but not uncomfortable. The dragon nuzzled against her neck, his scales warm. She is accepting you, Alara said with wonder. I have never seen this before. Lily felt a strange warmth spread from where Vex touched her, a feeling of connection that was foreign. Yet somehow familiar. Commander Bell approached them. We are evacuating the station, she said. The harvesters have targeted us specifically. All personnel are to board emergency transport.